Hey guys, I'm just making this video because I feel like I have to. There's other people out there with tutorials on breeding bases. The problem I'm finding is that they're saying things, but the things that they're saying are pretty dumb. So here's my take on how to make a breeding base. This one has a different strategy, a different kind of approach. It's what I have, I guess, called large batch breeding, and I will tell you guys the benefits of that. The big benefit of that, it is going to be an AFK strategy, right? So most of these breeding bases you're seeing online, it's going to be where you have to stay at the base every once in a while. You need to incubate the eggs, you need to do the whole process, and then you end up spending 4 hours to make a pal, and you just can't quite get those perfect stats that you want, right? So this is how you can breed for these animals and still enjoy the game and play it like it was meant to be played instead of standing the entire freaking game at your base and you're like, why am I even playing Palworld? So just a quick base tour. That's where I keep all of the egg incubators. The biggest strategy here is going to have to do with cake production, right? So having good cake production comes down to having a good wheat farm, a good ranch, sane pals, and having that good cake production is what's going to allow you to breed in large batches. So I've got 10 cake in each one right now, and I'm cooking up about 40 more. And the only reason I'm able to make 50 cake at once, and you will need those electric kitchen, if ideally. Otherwise, you're going to need the Yormantide, and the Yormantide's pathing sucks. So you're going to want that electric kitchen to be able to use a level 3 kindler and still get the cake that you need, because the only guy with level 4 is Yormantide, and his pathing is so bad it can keep him in the base. But yeah, you can see the egg incubators here. I've got about 20 of them, and when I'm using this base, I get to fill them all the way up. Right, so it just comes down to having a balanced base, keeping all of these things in growth, right? That's how you know that it's operating efficiently if all of these are sitting in the growth stage. And the biggest thing for that is just keeping gathering pals and planting pals that only have one ability. Otherwise they get distracted with transportation or other tasks, and they don't end up farming like you need them to. So I'm using Galeclaw. You can see they only have gathering, even though it's level 2, they only gather. I've also got the Bronze Cherry, which has level 3 planting and only level 3 planting. And right now I am breeding for cows and I am breeding for shadow beaks. So the cows, I am just trying to get a higher level of milk maker. I don't care about the stats, but for shadow beaks I do care about the stats. So my recommendation is I have 3 breeding pens. I'm only going to have 1 breeding pen for cows, even though I'm trying to make a lot, because otherwise you just get confused about the stats and the inventory management, and it becomes a big headache, right? So if you have a party that you're trying to increase the stats on, put your mount in one, put your flyer in another, and then find something that you can use for maybe your glider, right, in that 3rd breeder. And then the way you set this up is that you have that ranch cranking for you. You have the ability to make 50 cake at once, right? And then you go and you put 50 cake, in between the 3. You get 15 in each, and then you go and you place all of the eggs in like your 30 egg incubators, right? And what that allows you to do is it takes a while for all of these pals to make, 15 eggs each. So what you can do in between cycles here is go out and actually play the game, which you can't normally do at a breeding base. Right, is you go out and play the game for 45 minutes while these guys are cranking out eggs, and then what you're banking on is you're seeing it here and getting a lot of really good stats, and that just has to do with the law of large numbers. There's a genetic variability with these statistics. I can take 2 dog water shadow beaks and eventually get a good one because I am dealing with such a large batch size, because I can make so much cake. I can go out and play the game, make 200 shadow beaks, and one of them is going to be good stats, right? And then every time I do a round, I come back, I swap them out, I put the ones with the best stats in the base. So I have my pal condenser upstairs, and I've got my egg storage upstairs as well, for sometimes I have too many eggs. I did make some sacrifices with the AI pathing to make the base look good. Just so you know, I put the gates in a cardinal direction, and then I placed the foundations in a cardinal direction to make sure that the hallways would line up with the gates, because the base itself and the gate and the fence are 2 separate structures. So that's a little bit on how I built it, and I did try to make it look good by going for a tiered layer design with good colors, good depth. But if you want a building tutorial, I'll show that to you in a later video. I also want to show off my mining base, but that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I kept it quick and simple for you guys. If you have any recommendations on what I could do to make this base better, please leave them in the comments.